Absolutely no threats anywhere around the Gulf region. But the other areas, there's Erin. It's a Cat 2 as of that 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. update Eastern time. And then here's the second tropical wave we're going to be watching. It's got a medium chance of development, and Invest 99. It just rolled off the continent of Africa over the past 24 hours or so, and they're giving it a low chance of development. We'll talk more about these two features coming up in just a bit, but let's start with Erin and where we stand as of that latest advisory. It's fighting some wind shear, and boy, this thing has slowed down. It's moving northwest only at 9 miles an hour, and you can see the previous track here. While we have had some wobbles, while at times it's heading west and then east and then north, the general motion has been northwest for over 2 days now. And while the track has shifted slightly closer to the U.S., we still do not expect a direct landfall from a hurricane in the U.S. This will be impacts from big waves, some storm surge, and beach erosion, especially for the Outer Banks here. So here's the official track overlaid with the chance for tropical storm force winds. Now, keep in mind, Erin is getting bigger and bigger, meaning the wind field is expanding. So while the winds have come down some, they're still pretty strong at 105. We've seen the wind field expand. So let's put it in motion for you. Here we are over the next 24 to 48 hours, taking it up towards right on the skirting there, the Outer Banks. Tropical storm force winds are certainly going to be a possibility. Wind gusting 50, 60, maybe 70 miles an hour. But the worst of the winds, that core of hurricane winds, is in the red. You can see it is well offshore. So that's where the destructive winds will be. But notice how large the wind field will have grown by the time we get into Thursday and really Wednesday night and Thursday. So I think we're going to start to see some tropical storm force wind gusts near the Outer Banks there by Wednesday night into Thursday. That'll be at least the gustiest of it, the biggest waves. You can see there as we put it in motion that by the time we do get to this point, the wind field has expanded, and you're looking at a system that has tropical storm force winds over 500 miles, the diameter at least. So really getting big there. And then it continues to lift out to sea all across the eastern seaboard, dealing with these rough seas, a rip current risk. The ocean's going to be awake over the next couple of days or so. And then it's sitting just south of Newfoundland there by this weekend. Transitioning from a tropical to a non-tropical system, but still going to be producing large waves, rough seas, and some wind gusts closer to the St. John's area there. So still maintaining the core of the storm stays off the coast of the Carolinas. Now, the previous tracks, whenever we look at this, you can see that westward shift continued over the past few days, but we finally are starting to see it somewhat stabilize, we will call it. The past couple lines are in line with where they have been since yesterday, or at least last night. So you can see there it's consistently shifted west, but we're seeing it kind of solid stall out, at least the shift to the west, and now expecting it to still be offshore by a couple hundred miles or so. But the big problem are the wind and the waves. Tropical storm warnings have been issued for the Outer Banks. That's an update here, as there will likely be at least some wind gusts over and sustained winds over 40 miles an hour, especially for the Outer Banks. They're that area that sticks a little bit further out into the Atlantic. That's the path of the center, still offshore, but that wind field growing so large. You can see it with our future satellite. Watch this. The eye a couple days ago was like 5 miles wide. We've tripled, quadrupled that, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. Look at the center of this thing. May see it organize a little bit more as we go into Wednesday. That eye right there is 60 to 70 miles across there, and so that's why it's just such a large system that's moving on by. Missing the worst of the winds, but this thing is going to have a lot of water and a lot of wave action with it. Let's track some of our waves. Our current waves show we are getting waves reported near 30 feet just north of the center of Erin. Even out here hundreds of miles away, we've got seas 9 to 15 feet or so. And so that's what's going to be heading towards the Carolinas as we go into the next 48 hours or so. You can see the waves really increase as we head towards Wednesday into Thursday. So by Wednesday morning, we're already seeing seas, at least the highest waves there, 10 feet or so off the coast of the Carolinas, off the East Coast. Fast forward, the worst of the waves are going to be passing by likely Wednesday night into Thursday morning. There's the center of the hurricane, maybe closer to the center, producing 30 to 40-foot waves, but closer to shore here. These are substantial. That's substantial beach erosion there, and that's why they've been calling for those evacuations for some of these islands out here on the Outer Banks. We could easily see waves 10 to 20 feet or so as this passes off the coast. And keep in mind, this is such a large, broad system that, look at this, even Long Island. Going out to the islands here, we're seeing seas 10 feet or so, and we're talking waves crashing at 10 feet. So some big wave action here as we go through. Notice this is Friday into Saturday, so it is not going to be great weather along any of the beaches through the middle and really the rest of this week there on the East Coast. Even up into New England, you've got waves 5 to maybe 10 feet the further out you get a little bit offshore there in the Atlantic, and then it finally pushes away. The seas calm down into the weekend and more so into early next week. Now, with the waves crashing, we've also got the risk for some inundation here. We're talking those low-lying areas on the Outer Banks. Those islands don't sit very high. We've got storm surge warnings that are likely going to be in effect as we are forecasting 2 to 4 feet from the lookout area there up towards Cape Hatteras. You've got 2 to 4 feet. A little bit further north, closer to Norfolk and all these areas where you get some rivers, New Bern, all these spots, 1 to 3 feet of inundation, so water will rise a little bit. Same thing a little bit further down the coast of Wilmington and just north of Charleston, probably 1 to 3 feet of surge here. But right there on the Outer Banks there, that's where the highest surge will be, up to about 4 feet. And keep in mind, the center of the storm is hundreds of miles away. It just has such a big wind field that wind is pushing the water inland here, especially as the storm approaches. And as the storm lifts away, you'll get more of an offshore flow and things will improve surge-wise later Thursday and Friday for these areas. So that looks to be our surge problems. How strong do the winds get? Well, I don't think winds are going to be a major problem here. They're going to be gusty. It's not going to be great weather, but you can see there, once we get into Wednesday night, winds starting to pick up along coastal areas. These are wind gusts, so not necessarily sustained winds, but you start to see wind gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. And then as we fast forward into Thursday morning, you could start to see wind gusting closer to 50, 60 miles an hour. That is enough to do some minor damage. You're not going to see widespread destruction from these types of winds, but that only aids in your powerful waves crashing, a little bit of surge, and this is when your surge is likely at its highest through Wednesday night and Thursday morning as you get that onshore push. Notice by Thursday night, you get that offshore flow, and that's when the surge improves. And there it is. Erin, it just goes massive and builds away. And then here we are this weekend sitting just south of Newfoundland there. There's St. John's. Winds gusting, we'll say 30, 40 miles an hour. I don't think it's a mega windstorm for those areas, but certainly going to be gusty. So that's what's going on with Erin. It's going to be a big wave maker at the end of the day with extreme beach erosion. You can't be in the water on the East Coast. Rip current risk is extreme. There have been over 70 rescues so far of people being in the water, and the storm is not even close to causing the biggest of the problems. Let's talk about these other two features. This tropical wave right here is unorganized. It's a broad area of showers and storms. Hurricane Center says it's got a medium chance of development as it approaches areas around Puerto Rico this weekend. Notice, though, the trends here are it's gaining latitude. So the more we look at that tropical feature, we're more confident that it's got an out to sea option here. And since Erin is moving a little bit slower than initially in the forecast, there's still a weakness in this ridge. So Erin is carving the path for that thing to hopefully stay out to sea. Hopefully it never really grows into anything too strong. Models are not overly aggressive with that one being a significant storm. Invest 99, now this one may grab your attention because it's further south and there's a better chance that this one doesn't gain much latitude. There's also a decent chance that it's going to be battling some dry air, and so we hope that happens. Right now they're only giving it a 20 to 30% chance of development over the next couple of days, and then it may not have much life left in it by the end of this week. So again, our steering pattern with Erin, it's getting pulled to the north. It leaves a weakness in the ridge. That leaves that little tropical feature that has a chance of development near Puerto Rico, a curvature or at least a path out to sea. You've also got that guy right there. What is that? That's a big trough of low pressure for August standards. That's going to dig down across the eastern U.S. here. Not only does that bring a beautiful cold front across the east, some are going to be getting a little taste of fall early next week. It also creates that path out to sea. So that's what's going to happen with the first tropical wave. Now the second tropical wave, we'll keep an eye on it because it likely gets trapped underneath this ridge. And depending how strong this ridge is, it may actually send it and dive it into South America here. That would be fine because it wouldn't develop, but it would also keep it from coming back to life if it ever does reach the Caribbean. But that type of pattern would keep whatever's down here traveling due west and doesn't really give it an opportunity to go to the north. So it's one of those features that it may not look impressive for the next 7 days. Our tropical models do show it diving south here, struggling. Many of the models really just don't do much with it. By next Tuesday, a week from today, we may have that wave somewhere in this general vicinity. We want to make sure, though, it doesn't come back to life, because we have seen it time and time again where you can see the moisture there. It's battling dry air. It doesn't do anything. Maybe it dives into South America and never does anything. Maybe the tropical wave stays a little further north, and then if it moves into the right environment, it tries to perk up. And so that'll be something we're watching in probably 7 to even 10 days. It is no immediate threat to the Gulf. It's not even an immediate threat to the Caribbean here, but something we'll keep an eye on. And it's August. We keep an eye on all these tropical waves as they continuously roll off the continent of Africa and through the Atlantic. So that's where we stand. We'll keep these tropical weather impact updates coming for you all week as we track Erin passing off the East Coast, and we continue to watch those 2 other tropical waves travel across the Atlantic as well. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.